Hey everybody, it's your girl Storytimewithmissty on deck.
And it's your girl Psychics Anonymous, still anonymous.
And together we are
your favorite besties.
So you guys, today is a very, usually anonymous go ahead and say, you know what, I got something interesting or something weird, but today for me holds very heavy energy.
Yeah.
Okay. Very, very heavy energy. I'd like to say that, overall, based on what I've read, I'm quite disappointed, but at the same time, not surprised. Anonymous, why don't you let them know what we're talking about today?
No officers charged directly with Breonna Taylor's death. And it should say murder. Should say murder because she was murdered.
They calculate murder differently, though. That means malicious intent for that person. So, second.
Well, there's different degrees of murder, and it's still murder.
It wasn't in the heat of passion because
it was. Yes, it was because the whole thing is that the officer alleged that they went to the house looking for a specific person. She was just the wrong person,
right?
And they were at the wrong house. So you did.
Oh no, actually. Sorry, but I was going to say is actually what they stated is they believed it to be self-defense.
Right. Oh, my pressure's going to go up.
Okay. Now, go ahead. You want us to get into the article?
Okay. A former Louisville police officer has been indicted by a grand jury on first-degree wanton endangerment charges for his actions on the night Breonna Taylor was killed by police, but not for her death. Two other officers at the shooting were not indicted. The long-awaited charges against the former officer, Brett Hankinson, were immediately criticized by demonstrators and activists who had demanded more serious counts and the arrest of the three officers involved in the March shooting. The charges pertain to Hankinson allegedly firing blindly through a door and window in Taylor's building. The other two officers, Sergeant Mattingly and Detective Miles Cosgrove, were not charged following months of demonstrations. Kentucky's Attorney General Daniel Cameron told reporters Wednesday that the officers were justified in their use of force because Breonna Taylor's boyfriend fired at officers first. Let's stop right there for a minute. He fired at officers first, allegedly, and here's the whole thing he would be 100 billion% right to, because if somebody busts in your house in the middle of the night when you and your husband or wife, woman, boyfriend, girlfriend, boo thing, whatever you want to say, is laying at home sleeping, trying to get some rest for the next day so you can go on and be productive citizens like going to work, okay? And in her case, helping to save lives, okay? You guys are at home, sleep, strangers, boom, bust in your door. Is it normal for somebody to bust in your door in the middle of the night, or do I live in another planet?
Right.
It's not normal. Right. Your first reaction is self-defense. Right. Let me do something to protect me and my family. Completely that is your first reaction. Okay?
Confused. All these different unsettling
So
things.
How dare they claim self-defense?
Yeah. This is
the nerve. Whew. Okay. Let me see if I can bring this thing down one time.
Please, Anonymous. Okay, come on back.
Okay, okay, because they're trying to, that's why they're claiming self-defense, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Anyways, the decision before my office is not to decide if the loss of Breonna Taylor's life was a tragedy, he said. Isn't that some nerve? Ha! The answer to that question is unequivocally yes. Cameron called the Taylor's death a gut-wrenching emotional case where the pain is understandable. Look at that word. Understandable. Huh. If that was his wife, would he just say it's understandable? If that was his sister, his mother, his daughter, his damn dog, would he say it's understandable? Okay. He defended the length of the investigation, saying the time reflected how important it is to get this right. And you got it wrong. You didn't get anything right. I know that not everyone will be satisfied. He said of the grand jury decision, our job is to present the facts to the grand jury, and the grand jury then applies the facts. If we simply act on outrage, there is no justice. Mob justice is not justice. Justice sought by violence is not justice. It becomes revenge. Well, this country got a hell of a history of revenge on black people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because it's always the mob mentality. Right. A jury of your peers is never a jury of your peers for black folks.
No, it's not.
Never.
No.
So revenge, mob mentality, y'all know it best. This country know it best. When you black, you always get that. No, without a shadow of a doubt, it's coming.
Anonymous, the thing that, words right now can't truly describe how I feel about this. But I will say this. Is it expected based on previous history that shows the way that America treats its citizens of any kind of African background, yes, it's expected. What's expected? No justice. Okay? So for them to all, it just reminds me of this one time I was watching this T.D. Jakes episode, and he was talking about something in his lecture, and he was saying, when somebody are all from the same clan.
Oh, yeah.
And he referred to the clan or group of people being
That's
like
the Smiths.
The Smiths, yeah, you heard about that?
I love that sermon.
The analogy he used, he was saying, well, basically, if I want to come into a store, I'm from my outsider. I come in the store, I want to buy something, right? If I don't have it on my store, I'm going to send you to my brother down the street because he got it, right? If my brother down the street don't got it, I'm going to send you to my cousin, who's going to send you to the niece, and so on and so on. The circle that everybody that I'm going to send you to for whatever you need is all going to be the Smiths. We're all related. We all agree. We all see things the same. We all behave the same. We all have the same ideology. Okay? Now, he wasn't talking about one group of people when he said that. He was talking about on the broader spectrum. Pretty much to me, what I felt about it was it describes our judicial system perfectly. Okay?
Absolutely.
It absolutely describes it perfectly. To say, this case is highly emotional and it needs to, it was brought to a grand jury and they were to go based on the facts of the law. What does that inherently say about the law? Is there not things that need, and is the law perceived, thought up, and treated, given to everybody the same and equally? And the answer to that, from my perspective, is hell no. Okay? That could have been the same situation. The lady replaced Breonna Taylor with a Caucasian woman and her boyfriend or husband laying up there. The police come in, mistaken identity, wrong house.
Same scenario, exactly the same.
They come in there and shoot that woman to death, and that man starts firing back.
Well, he would be labeled a hero.
He was in self-defense. Now, I think,
and just like this guy is.
I think it should be said that originally they took Breonna Taylor's husband to jail.
Yeah, yes,
they took him to jail for self-defense.
They
Only
did.
After extreme pressure from the public did they release him and remove the charges.
He never should have been arrested.
Instead of saying the police were defending themselves when they broke into a house that they had no business in, okay, and terrified the residents and tortured them, okay, instead they go, the police were not doing self-defense, her boyfriend was.
And that's exactly what was happening.
So now to say, well, the police were shooting in self-defense,
why would you need to
shoot in self-defense if you didn't break in a house that you had no business in?
You better speak on it.
Right? So to me, relating it back to that, the analogy from T.D. Jakes that he used with the Smiths, the police, the DA, the judges, the grand jury, everybody collectively,
the entire judicial system.
In the judicial system, they are what we call the Smiths. They are all friends. They all agree. They pick up the phone and make a call. They say, oh, okay, well, we're going to make this law not apply, and this is how we're going to use it. We're going to use this law to debunk this one. Why? Because these characters are black. Now, we're going to use the same law to protect that one because this group of people are Caucasian. Okay? It's absurd. It's absurd. It's absurd. It's unsettling. And here's another thing, right? Some people tuning in, they will say, oh, people got so emotional, they just have to understand that they...
Don't even come over here with that. I'm letting y'all know that right now. If that's your perspective, go on down the street with that. Go on down the street where you and everybody else like that think, get on away from here for that. I'm telling you in the wrong house. Just like the officers was in the wrong house, you in the wrong house. I'm keeping it a month. They was in the wrong house, and if you come over here with that, you in the wrong house.
Okay, now, I'm going to say that there's some people who will say, well, I just think that a lot of people are making this thing really emotional.
Yeah,
really
okay,
emotional.
you go on. Let it be your mama, and I'll lose all my emotion. I ain't going to have no emotion.
And it doesn't matter what your background is. This statement is for all of you guys. It's rated E for everyone. Anybody who believes that this situation is simply highly emotional and people are getting all up in arms about nothing, all we have to do is replace Breonna Taylor with whoever you love the most, even if that person is yourself.
Yes, there you go.
All we have to do, replace her with whoever you love the most, even if that person is yourself. We're going to have you in that house completely unaware. You're going to wake up to be targeted and shot like an animal in the street. You're going to be completely confused and disoriented, have no idea what's going on. They will shoot you dead like an animal. And guess what? There will be no justice.
No justice. And all you'll hear is, oops, wrong house. And the officers say, self-defense, we did nothing wrong. We investigated each other, and we all found conclusively that we've done nothing wrong.
I talked to you. You talked to me. Then we decided together, hey, we ain't did nothing wrong, right?
Right.
We both said right.
Right.
And then said, well, just in case somebody else think we did something wrong, get Paul on the phone.
What's it,
Paul, you think we did anything wrong? No.
Y'all ain't did nothing wrong.
And that's the way the judicial system works, and particularly for African Americans.
Boom. Okay. We're going to wrap this up. It says the American Civil Liberties Union of Kentucky in a tweet called the decision to not charge the officers in her death, quote, the latest miscarriage of justice in our nation's long history of denying that Black Lives Matter. Facts. Okay. Once again, a prosecutor has refused to hold law enforcement accountable for killing a young Black woman. Breonna Taylor should be alive today. Innocent, right. So the NAACP said in a statement that the justice system failed Taylor and the charges against one officer do not go far enough. Okay, and speaking of this is another thing that I find very, very, very insulting about this case. The family was awarded a settlement of $12 million, right? Here's my whole thing. And then you turned around and you slapped the officer who actually murdered her on the wrist, and the other ones who were involved in as well, you gave them no charge. You gave them no charges whatsoever. Now let's go back. Let's go take a little stroll through history. If you are a Black man, woman, or even a child, and you commit any crime and you got two friends with you, even if they did nothing, they could have tried to stop you. They could have begged with you and pleaded with you, threw themselves over the person to try to stop you. But if that person almost died or was injured, all of you are being charged.
That's right.
Those officers are not innocent. They watched a man murder a woman in cold blood and they stood by and did nothing. They should be charged.
And then the last
and I'm speaking for the people.
And the last thing I'm going to say, well, thank you, Anonymous, on behalf of the people.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I want to say to kind of put the icing on the cake, that's insult to injury. You guys, they actually said that they are charging the officer for endangerment of the Caucasian neighbors who weren't even the closest ones to her house. Not the other African.
Well, they didn't say Caucasian.
No, they didn't say Caucasian. No. I read it in the thing. I read it online.
Yeah, I read it too. That they said that for the neighbors. It's called wonton.
They didn't say that the neighbors were Caucasian. It was read in another article where they said the neighbors who are they speaking of, they were Caucasian neighbors and they were charged for that.
Now
okay?
you see that is just.
But they were not the neighbors. It doesn't matter what the race is. I'm just saying it because it's a big difference.
It does matter.
So
that matters too.
This is why I'm saying it more specifically because you're going to charge the officers. Forget the breaking in and killing of this innocent woman. Mm-hmm. Okay, forget terrifying her husband and shooting at him. Forget the false charges, all that stuff. We're going to charge for the neighbors who are not the closest ones to you, but the ones down the street. Oh yeah, those neighbors right there. We'll go ahead and charge you for endangering them, not the ones closest to her. Not for her death.
Right.
But we'll charge you for endangering those neighbors. How insulting.
Make it make sense, y'all.
How insulting.
It's guys, more than insulting. Make that make sense.
You guys light up the comments, weigh in, let us know your opinion. If you guys would like to sponsor this podcast or any other podcast, dance on over to Cash App. Put in $ your favorite besties.
Yeah. And just wrapping it up to say, if you're one of those type of people, this is anonymous. Let's be very clear who this is. This is anonymous speaking. If you're one of those type of people who are in any way, shape, or form in defense of the officers, you are not my type of person.
Yeah, my type.
Say it down the street. Don't even come over here with that.
Yeah,
Take that shit down the street.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah,
don't nobody want to hear that. You're going down the street with the fake All Lives Matter. I don't want to hear that. Take that fake All Lives Matter stuff down the street. Because if All Lives Matter, then guess what? Breonna Taylor would not be dead. Her life would have mattered. Justice for her would matter. And it doesn't in the judicial system, clearly. Okay? So don't come over here with that fakeness.
It just reminds me of the thing I was watching. I'm going to let it go right here. But it just reminds me of the thing that I was watching where this Caucasian man was pulled over, and he was pulled over because his tags was expired 3 months behind. The officers pulled him over and told him they need to take the car. They gave him about 10 to 15 chances to get out the car. He said he wasn't going to get out the car. They tased him. They let him sit back down in his car to where he reached and got a handgun, and he politely lit one of them officers up and killed him and shot the other one. Mm-hmm. And you know what they did? They brought him into custody without any scathe on him.
Make that make sense.
And you know why they let him get out you know why they didn't even taser him they didn't taser him until after they asked him, they're begged him.
They were begging him.
At least 10 to 12 times to
him.
get out the car. Mm-hmm. And his pompous ass, I run the world mentality, he was saying, no, I will not. You're harassing me. They even allowed him to pick up his cell phone and give directions to the location he was at to some other unknown person.
Who could have endangered them.
Could have came and killed them.
Yeah.
But you know what? A black guy, if he would have picked up his cell phone, they would have said, I thought he was reaching for a weapon. He would be dead at the steering wheel.
He didn't even have to pick up his cell phone. He could have had his hands on the wheels and refused to move, and he still would have got 50 bullets.
Yeah, they would have said, I was in fear of my life, even though on his hands we had to pry him off the steering wheel. That's how hard he was gripping it.
Exactly.
They wouldn't care. Fearful of life. But you guys know what? I'm sorry and sad and disgusted to say, I expected this. Okay?
Yeah.
I would honestly, ideally, and I know it's just, hey, call me a dreamer. But in an ideal world, I would like to live in a world where I should never expect something like this to
exactly.
be okay.
That's the sad reality.
That's not the world that we live in.
You shouldn't expect it. And for the people who are okay with this, what is this called? With this verdict, okay? For the people who are okay, let me just tell you, I got a little note for you, a little memo. The time will come. The time will come. Remember, I said it. The time will come where this is not okay. And the face of the victim will change. Remember that. The face of the victim will change. Believe me, it don't seem like that right now today, right? Because you're living in this illusion of a world. You're right here. You're just only seeing this on one side. The face of the victim will change. Okay? This is not okay now. It was never okay in the past. And it will never be okay in the future. Straight up. I'm done with it. Story time.
I'm done. You guys, light up the comments. Let us know your opinion. We know this is a long one.
Light and love to Breonna's family.
Yeah, to her family, her loved ones, and to all the protesters out there on her behalf. Thank you guys, okay? So, I was just going to say the other ending. All right. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us. Until next time, you guys have been rocking with
your favorite besties.
Bye.
Bye.